So I'm doing another Yap and Draw. Um, I know throughout this whole video it's gonna be a little like there's gonna be long pauses at certain points because I was struggling to find a reference. And also I was not liking how the first pose was coming out. I think because this is an art video, I do want to talk about some of the stuff that happens in the art community, which is really annoying. First one of those things being trends that go ahead and gaslight or like make the viewer feel bad if they don't like or go ahead and follow the person that does the art. I just hate those. I think it's really annoying. I think one of the most recent ones I've seen is like, I didn't do this for like 3 hours just to get this many likes. And I don't think people are understanding the purpose of art anymore. Creating art isn't so people can see it. It's genuinely just a form of creation. Like, not a million people need to see it for your art to be valid or actually be worth something. And I think social media has definitely killed and rotted the brains of a lot of artists online. Another thing I keep seeing in the art community is people that will like bash other artists for having a certain style. I'm pretty sure if like you've seen or have been in the art scene on Instagram or any other social media platform, there was this artist going around that didn't draw their characters anatomically correct. That is what you would call it. It's just their style, and they were getting so much backlash for it. And then as soon as they actually changed their style to not be like that anymore, then everyone was like, "No, go back, go back. It was so unique. It was so cool." And it's just like you can never win in this community. I think people need to start understanding that art doesn't need to be like anatomically correct or be this or that. It like art is simply there as a form of creation and as an outlet for a lot of people. It's really stupid to police people on art and what they can create just because you don't think it looks good. I also see like a bunch of videos on YouTube of don't do this as an artist, like stop doing this as an artist. And I know they're meant to be there for criticism, but I don't think you should like tell people how they're supposed to draw. Like there's no correct or wrong way of drawing. It is just simply do whatever you want. I know I've saw a lot of tips over the years on how to draw and like you should go ahead and do this instead of that, but honestly, I don't think tips always work. I think sometimes people just need to figure out what works for them for anatomy and other stuff. I know one of the tips I saw maybe like a few years ago was don't do the circle base for a head, do like a rectangle. But for me, that still just doesn't work. I still struggle with a box because I feel like it doesn't come out properly for me. So I still do the circle method. It's just really what works for you. And sometimes those tips work, sometimes they don't. But I don't think they should like be put up in a video as stop doing this as an artist, stop doing that. It's all dependent on what works for you and what doesn't. It's just coming to a point where I think people in the community are making so many rules and not really understanding like the basis of what art is, which is honestly just having fun and creating. You don't need millions of people to see it. I don't think a lot of these artists understand that even two or five people seeing your art and saying they like it is still a lot of people. If you were in real life and you got that many people going ahead and telling you your art was good, like you'd be elated. I just think it's gotten to a point where it's more about getting numbers and just reaching out there more to other people than what it's supposed to be is creating and having fun. Another gripe I've seen in the art community is like quote unquote tracing over stuff, like using references and trying to get the anatomy down or just trying to trace over certain references, not really like stealing the art because that's a completely different story. That's actual tracing, Like, it's not tracing if you go ahead and are using it as a reference. It's completely different. It's tracing when you go ahead and take someone's art and literally draw lines on yourself like exactly like the other artist has and then call it your own. That is tracing. I don't think enough of these new artists or these internet artists understand what really is tracing, and that this has been a tool that even animators and shows have used for God knows how long. They create a base for art for themselves, like say a character, and they will continue to go ahead and use that base continuously so it's easier and so it's more proportionate throughout the show. You even got to think of 3D models because it's the same thing for that. It's just so that it stays proportionate and doesn't look weird. I can't really turn my gripes into a 30-minute long video, so moving on. Since cosplay is technically another form of art, I'm so sick of the racism in the cosplay community. It's genuinely sickening. I will see these white cosplayers always putting down black cosplayers or like any other person of like a different ethnicity cosplaying quote unquote white characters when technically white people cosplaying those characters isn't even technically accurate because all of the characters are Asian. Being being white does not equal being Asian. And so white people aren't even accurately going ahead and cosplaying characters. I just hate how they think, oh, as soon as it's a black person, now we gotta start having a problem because it's not accurate. And it's genuinely saddening too because of the one cosplayer, not even just one, but many cosplayers that have ended up taking their lives over the bullying and harassment they faced online. It is genuinely tiresome. One of the cosplays I saw of Jabber was actually like someone wanted to comment that you N-wordified Jabber, and it's like, hello? Jabber is black. And that's another thing. People debating the races of some of the characters for that anime is genuinely sickening because the characters they're debating are genuinely black. What? How are you going to go ahead and say they're not black? That makes no sense to me. I am astonished. Also, Molly, if you're watching this video right now and get to this point, you just texted me and I'm literally gonna slime you out. Back to what I was saying though, before I was rudely interrupted. Racism in these spaces are absolutely so fucking ridiculous. I can't even begin to fathom why there is a problem with black cosplayers even existing for people. What is the issue? I don't understand it. There shouldn't even be an issue. Like, genuinely take your hate filled bullshit somewhere else besides going ahead and hating on people, genuinely just not wanting to have fun and creating. Speaking of racism, I've seen a lot of racist comments over what race some of the My Little Pony characters are, and it's like, does it fucking matter? They're pastel ponies. Why are we caring if somebody draws Pinkie Pie black? It doesn't fucking matter. Because genuinely, at the end of the day, how does that affect you? It doesn't. If somebody wanted to draw a pastel pony, like black or white or brown, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they're still a fucking pastel pony. And it shouldn't affect you. And if it affects you that much, I think you need to go to therapy. I've also seen this problem when people make Miku designs because all of a sudden people want to be like, no, every Miku isn't canon now, and it's so tiring. I have no clue why it's such a horrible issue and why it matters so much of what a character looks like. Like, genuinely, at the end of the day, they're a fictional fucking character. It's not like we're taking like a historical figure or someone who is actually black or actually white in real life and swapping their race. In fiction, it doesn't matter, but if you're actually like taking real people and doing that, it's fucking weird. I have no clue if you've seen like the meme pictures of I Show Speed and how people have turned it into a white person. I don't care if people find that as, oh, it's just a joke. It's just a joke, guys. It's still weird. why are you taking a real life person and swapping their race? It doesn't matter if it's for a joke. It's still weird. This kind of makes me think of the movie White Chicks though. And that movie was so funny. I don't know why or what they were cooking up with that, but it was absolutely hilarious. I'm not talking about instances like that. I'm talking about actual historical people and actual people in real life and just swapping their race without their consent. Like at least the actors for White Chicks actually chose to do that. They were okay with doing that for the movie. Like these people that are turned into memes don't have that opportunity. I think it's so tiring on Instagram specifically of how many people think just being hateful is, oh, it's just a part of the internet. It's just something that I can do because I'm on the internet. And it's like, where's your like sense of basic human decency and acting like a normal person for once? You don't need to be an ass. You choose to because you can use the scapegoat of, well, I'm on the internet, so it doesn't matter. When every comment that you make is affecting real people. The racist comments under cosplays, the racist comments with fan art, the racist comments in general. Like, you don't get to hide behind the guise of, well, it's the internet, so I can do whatever, and just not go ahead and have consequences for your actions. Like, need I remind you when people were getting found on the internet, like where they lived and everything, because of the shitty things that they were saying? Don't think that can't happen to you. Remind yourself that what you post on the internet is public. It is there for everyone to see. Like, just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you're free from consequences. I think people forget that. Just because you can say something doesn't mean you should or need to. People need to start thinking about stuff before they comment and say stuff to people because some of the stuff they say is just absolutely vile and we're losing human empathy the longer that we're on the internet at this point. I forgot not even just with black cosplayers too, but cosplayers of different body types. Like if they're not super skinny and anorexic like some of these characters are, then people will instantly start hating on them, which is so stupid. I still don't get it. Hate is illogical and people just love to do it because they don't have to think while they're doing it. Speaking of hate, though, I'm really tired of there being a new movie that comes out or a new piece of media in general that comes out. And all of a sudden, just because it's new, everyone wants to start hating on it. Like, I don't understand. They don't actually go ahead and watch it for what it is. They have to go ahead and critique it every step of the way. And if it's not exactly like they wanted, it's instantly the worst piece of media they ever thought out, and that everyone else should have the same opinion because it's just that shit to them. Like, there's many examples of this, like the FNAF movies, Iron Lung, The Amazing Digital Circus, which I was originally not that into, but with the latest episode, I'm actually really intrigued to see where it goes. But besides that, there's just so many different things that come out, and all of a sudden, people want to hate on it just to hate on it. And then these hateful opinions then turn into, well, my hateful opinion is hateful fact, which I don't know if you've ever been in school, but your opinion is not a fact. It's just not. Like that's not how that works. Just because you dislike something doesn't mean it's a fact and everyone should go along with it. That is strictly your opinion. Like I could go ahead and say that the earth is flat, but there's factual evidence to prove me wrong. That's just how it is. You just can't be pushing out your opinions like it's fact and then get mad when someone has a different opinion than you. Everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. You can't police them simply because you don't like something. Like, I know I'm about to get absolutely like pummeled for this, but I do not like One Piece as an anime. Toei sucks so bad at the pacing for it. Do I like the story itself and the characters? Absolutely. But like the pacing for the anime is so absolute shit. And guess what? That's my opinion. And other people will have a different opinion to me. If they want to have that opinion, go the fuck ahead. I shouldn't police someone just because they don't agree with me. It's different when it's based on actual morals and stuff, like rapists are bad and pedophiles are bad. Like, yeah, they're actually fucking bad. If you disagreed with that, I would definitely look at you sideways. because that's not even really opinion based anymore. That's morale based. But for straight up opinions, we shouldn't be arguing over whose opinion is right because you can't be right when it's opinions. Speaking of like shows though, I really need to go ahead and watch quite a few different animes because they're on my list. I just haven't gotten to them yet. Like Hunter x Hunter, I really need to go and watch that. I did watch most of Death Note. I gotta be honest though, after L died, I was just like, I can't even watch this. I just can't fathom it. It just felt like it was dragging afterwards, and I couldn't do it. It's not that I hate Death Note. It's just it's not the same without L. It really isn't. I couldn't watch it without him. I want to get back into Miraculous too, but I'm so upset that Marionette's character design, not just design, her overall actions now, everything building up to her character arc is just thrown away and she's going back to her old habits and it's just I'm so tired of it. Like my girl deserves like to be better and do better, but they just plopped her back down and she's just doing the same old shit when it isn't necessary. She doesn't need to do it. I'm also kind of iffy about the new animation style, but it's not terrible. I just think I'm just still not used to it because like they fucked my boy Adrian's hair up so bad. I don't even want to discuss that much. It's just I couldn't. Going back to animes though, if there's any animes you think I should watch, definitely let me know. I definitely want to watch a few more. It's been a while since I've actually sat down and watched one. I think I need to catch back up on Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, and also I need to. I don't even know if the new season of Apothecary Diaries is out. If it is, I'd really like to go ahead and watch that too, because I really enjoyed that. I think the last anime I actually like fully watched through was maybe a year or so ago, and it was When They Cry, which I'm gonna say that's definitely not for the faint of heart. If you don't do well with blood or gore, don't watch it. But I think that's genuinely the last anime that I actually sat through and watched because everything else I'm waiting for new seasons and I'm waiting for more episodes to come out. Also, I don't know if you knew, but I think it was the author or one of the people that made When They Cry actually worked on the team for Silent Hill F, and I was so like I'm so happy about that. I think that's so cool. Also, Silent Hill F, I played through that and it was an experience to say the least. I didn't even know what I was going into with the body horror and everything, but I think it had some great messages. And actually, oh my gosh, it was so annoying. I actually had to fully finish the game before I looked at this absolute dunce's opinions on this because this dude just does not understand the premise of the game and he just does not want to. He was literally saying that the game was anti-marriage, and it's like, no, that's not what the game is about. I think you're just stupid and don't know what you're talking about. To be fair, he sounds like another one of those red pill losers on the internet that literally can't find any other opinion besides, this is woke and I don't like it. This is feminist and I don't like it. It's so tiring. Like, please get a job. Also, his comment about the combat system for Silent Hill F made no fucking sense because we are literally playing as a schoolgirl, and of course, she wouldn't have really good combat skills. She's not Leon from Resident Evil. She doesn't have those combat skills like him. She's a fucking high school girl. And she doesn't know what she's doing. That's the whole point, and I think it makes it a lot scarier that you don't have a lot of power for what you're doing. I think he's just purposely dense and doesn't want to understand anything of the game. He's okay with being ignorant and stupid, which I cannot handle from people. Going back to One Piece, though, the amount of opinions I've heard from people saying that One Piece isn't political, you have to be intentionally dense to go ahead and say that about an anime that is literally about pirates against the world government. You have to be joking. It feels like a lot of people nowadays are just lacking, like, subtle understandings from stories and everything, and they just expect it to be spelled out to you, which is so tiring and which is even making movies lazier now because our brains are literally fried, probably from using shit like ChatGPT because y'all losers can't think for yourselves. Which movies have gotten really lazy too with just I just don't feel any wow factor anymore. Like there's no I'm being kept guessing or I get to think of what happens next. It's just spelled out for you. And I hate that because as a capable human being, if you need it spelled out for you without being able to understand that there could be undertones for something, I think there's a problem. I think you should be able to comprehend storytelling and like the environment that gets created with it, the pieces of the puzzle you get from not being told right out of what is happening. I just prefer to, always be kept guessing for stuff. And it's very tiring that movies aren't doing that nowadays. It just feels so lazy and just not fulfilling to watch anymore. Another creative thing I want to talk about though is I've seen these crappy videos of being like, oh, I better not see people wear this or that. And it's literally like a bunch of people with alternative styles. And I just can't. You gotta be joking. It's like everyone finds every little thing that's not like them now cringe. People just can't coexist without being exactly the same, and it's so tiring. Speaking of hate though, I'm also very confused. Out of nowhere, there was like a bunch of hate for people that liked Danganronpa, and I have no like I still didn't get an explanation. I have no clue why. It I don't know if it was because of like 2020 or anything else where like people were actually doing Junko poses and everything, but like there was just this rampant hatred of like, oh, would you rather have this or a Danganronpa daughter? And it's like, where did this hate come from? Like, what is the purpose of this hate? I will not take this slander. Speaking of Danganronpa, I'm actually really excited for the revamp that's gonna come out. I really can't wait to see gameplays of it. I'm hoping to watch Cub Scouts play it because Jay is just amazing to watch for Danganronpa. He's my favorite YouTuber to watch for Danganronpa. It sucks though because a lot of the stuff I'm anticipating and excited for, I literally have to wait so long for it. Like I played the Freak Circus and I cannot wait for the new chapter to come out. I'm so excited for that. The one thing I'm not excited for anymore is the next chapter of Poppy Playtime because we're probably gonna get 50 more chapters because they keep dragging it out, which is so annoying. We get it. Oh no, prototype bad. Let's continue the story for the millionth time. And to be fair with Poppy Playtime, I will keep this opinion that it peaked at chapter 3 with Catnap. That, by far, was the scariest chapter, and I enjoyed that so much. It felt like we were actually getting to a climax and we were actually going to get more scary stuff. And then we get the next chapter with Doey, and I was very disappointed. I'm not saying I hate Doey. Am I saying it's the best chapter? No, we definitely should have deserved more Pianosaurus, which we did not get because he got slimed out in the first 5 seconds he was in frame. But it's just the newer chapters are not hitting the same as the third chapter did. The third chapter was absolutely immaculate, especially the chase sequence with Dog Day. I was absolutely astonished. I was like, oh my god. It's just the critters going ahead and eating away at him and controlling him was absolutely crazy. I do believe for Poppy Playtime, though, I remember hearing something about some of the story writers leaving the team because they were not happy with how Mob Games were going with stuff. Which I can't even blame them. I'm just very disappointed because I believe, like, they must have had the amazing writers for Chapter 3 just absolutely leave, which is absolutely horrendous because this game had so much more potential, but it's getting to a point where I know me and a lot of people are just like, so when is it over? Is it ending yet? Because it seems like we're never going to get an ending to this at this point. Speaking of ending, though, I cannot wait to see what will happen with the Amazing Digital Circus and how that ends because I wasn't really intrigued with it until not chapter, oh my god, episode 8. And I just can't wait. I was so interested in what was going behind everything now, and now I'm really interested about the second AI because I know a lot of people are going ahead and saying that Bubble could be the second AI, which seems to be pretty true because if Kane goes ahead and like for episode 7, he went ahead and had Bubble choose what to do with the buttons because how would Bubble really be able to do anything if he also didn't have creative ability? I think Bubble is the second AI, and a lot of people are also thinking that. I just think there's a lot to back it up. I know a lot of people are like sad that Kane is dead, but to be fair, like I don't know why we're upset. Like we're finding a way to leave the circus and we're upset that the AI that was literally torturing everyone is dead. We're upset about this. I understand though, it's because he was literally made to do stuff and it's like he's struggling, like he's not being appreciated and everything. But at the end of the day, he's still an AI. And I think deleting him is gonna help leave the circus, hopefully, because I don't even know what to expect next. I wonder what Bubble will do next, or if Bubble is even still alive at all. Because if he's not, that kind of debunks the second AI thing. But I guess we'll really have to see what happens in the next episode. I'm just really excited for it now because I feel like this goes a lot deeper than I really thought at surface level when I watched the other episodes. Also, I'm not even going to state my opinions on the other main cast themselves because I can't even with people arguing and making excuses for Jax so much and saying just because he's a complex character that we now have to have sympathy for him and act like he's a little baby. It's so annoying. It's not even just with Jax, too. I've seen this done with so many other fandoms, with so many other characters, and it's like, can y'all stop liking shitty characters? And I'm not talking about like characters that are shittily made, like their character arcs are terrible. I'm talking about characters that do shitty things and people want to go ahead and like bring their past experiences as an excuse for that behavior. It's the same way in real life. Just because you have mental health issues, just because you're going through something, doesn't mean you get to act like a piece of shit to other people. You're still responsible for your actions. Because at the end of the day, everyone is still culpable and capable of going ahead and choosing what they do and how they act towards people. It should not be an excuse that you're going through something. Everyone goes through stuff. It's just genuinely, at the end of the day, it matters how you treat people because of what you're going through. They're not the ones going ahead and causing this. So why are you taking it out on them? They're not the ones making you feel like shit. And if they are, like, cut them off. Unless it's family, which I know is really difficult. But, like, with friends and stuff, you have options if you want to be friends with that person. Cut them the fuck off. Which I know is easier said than done, but it's really just about having that courage of, oh, if they make me feel this way, I don't need to be around them. Because people who would actually love me and support me wouldn't treat me like this. But still, at the end of the day, you're responsible for your actions and your words. And going through something does not excuse being a shitty person. Mental illness and mental disability does not excuse being a shitty person. Which I know I have to say a million times for the TikTok girlies in the back that are just like, well, I have this, I have that, and it just forces me to do this. No, your mental illness does not force you to go ahead and act like shit to your friends. You're still capable of choosing what to do with your friends. And I know a lot of people end up having the same mentality with people with autism, and just because someone is autistic does not mean they can't be a shit person. The same way, if someone is going through something bad, doesn't mean they can't be a bad person. Something bad happening to a bad person doesn't mean they're not a bad person. You can have sympathy and empathy for that person, but I don't think that you automatically should label them, well, you're a good person now because something bad has happened to you. And I'm definitely not saying, like, do this thing where you don't give a fuck what anyone is going through and you just act mean and horrible if they're a bad person. It's normal and human to go ahead and have empathy for somebody that's going through a rough time. And that can also be a bad person going through a rough time. There's a lot more nuance to the situation than just treat a person like this or treat a person like this because they are like this. I mean, I've had family members that have gone through shitty stuff, but they've treated me extremely horrible. And that doesn't mean I can't have empathy for the situation that they've gone through. It just means that maybe I don't need to be the one that has to comfort or support them through this because of how they treat me, because of what they went through. It's all about just loving a person from a distance at that point. And sometimes you just have to do that. Sometimes you have to let that person grow without you being there. Because sometimes you being there just makes it so that person will not grow out of the habits that they have. And I think it's still okay to do that because you stay around after what they've done. I know it's really close to the end, so I'm just. Oh, yeah, I had to use a paint marker because I accidentally drew the wrong line there, so I'm just touching up a few more things and doing shadows, which I don't usually do on a normal basis anymore. But we're at the end. Yay, look. Oh, wow. Also, this is Love Ward Miku. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if your opinions differ from mine, and I will see you next time. Bye.